Chicagoland Speedway makes an appearance for a second season running and at a pivotal time in the BRB season. A rules bulletin released last week stating that fast repairs would be removed moving forward and, in essence, drivers need to clean it up. Race 8 tonight is one of unknowns and it's all starting now. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Joliet, Illinois. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murdos alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the BRB Racing League and the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Tonight's coverage from Chicagoland is brought to you by the Buttkicker, Ascendance Trucking, Ideal Lease, Sundance Pizza, and by Whiplash Simcams. Practice is ending, qualifying about to begin here at Chicagoland Speedway, Zach, so it's going to be a quick pre-race from us. We had some audio technical difficulties. Glad we got those sorted. It's going to be a fast one here. Let's talk about this racetrack. It is truly, I think, one of the only racetracks you'll ever go to, other than maybe Oxford, where you never stop turning.
Yeah, it's always been just one big circle for me at Chicagoland, and well, there may be snow in the Carolinas. There's definitely not any snow here at Chicago, Illinois, or Joliet, Illinois, where Chicagoland Speedway is. And there's been a big outcry from racing fans to bring this racetrack back. Right now, it's not seen a lot of use. Obviously, in the iRacing sim, you can see it getting used a ton. But elsewhere, it's definitely not seen a lot of love recently. I think there was maybe some motocross events that took place there a little bit ago, kind of like how they do at Daytona every so often. But as for NASCAR racing, there has not been very much going on at Chicagoland Speedway, but it proves to produce a lot of great racing. We've always seen a lot of great races here at Chicagoland Speedway, whether it's Kyle Larson's slide job, definitely coined by Dale Jr., it's super iconic, or Jeff Gordon spinning out Matt Kenseth in some sort of retaliation. But I always enjoy when we come here to Chicagoland. I always enjoy the racing here, and it's definitely going to prove to be one heck of a show for these guys tonight as I start to choke on my own words.
Let's talk about point standings coming into the evening. We'll keep things quick on points, revisit them later. There is a 6-point gap right now at the Chase cutoff line. Dakota Camper moving in. Zachary King getting booted out. Scott Fritz, 13 back. Carl Pooler, 29 back. They have, of course, had a lot of drama last week at Nashville and have fallen down the order a little bit. Scott Fritz, not so much, but Carl Pooler, definitely a big drop for him in the point standings. He drops down to 29 markers out of the Chase. Zachary Brandvold gets a little bit closer at 31 back. Evan Patinko, 32 back. So some drivers right there on the fringe needing a big day today at Chicagoland Speedway, and guys needing to get back into a safe spot would be Richard Wolsifer, Brendan Maddox, and Jared Hughes, even Matthew Catania. They all need to have a good run this evening and solidify themselves inside of the Chase. They're not outside looking in, they're inside trying to be safe. So some things to watch, some things to keep in mind here this evening as we get qualifying underway. Stephen Borbell fastest so far on the racetrack. He brings his run to a close. Last week's winner, Dustin Stallings, he does the same. He is second quick so far in qualifying. Adam Buzzio, last season's race winner here, ends up going third in qualifying so far. Jared Hughes in fifth. Dakota Camper down in sixth. Then we just keep on going down the order here during this quick qualifying session. Here's a look at Zachary Brandvold on the racetrack in car 55. As far as some guys that are just getting on the racetrack, Zach, Evan Patinko just got out there. Jason Bottom, Scott Fritz, Sam Dyer, and others, and look at that. Mason Houseman straight to the top of the board.
Yeah, he was up there at the top of the board during practice, and it looks like he's going to stay at the top of the board for right now as he shuts it down over there off of turn number 1 and turn number 2. There's Jason Bottoms on the racetrack. There's his first time on the board right there. I was confused for a second. I thought it was his out lap, but a 30.97. So that's going to put him a little bit further down the running order, definitely outside the top 20. Well down in the 26th spot, just above Dakota Bly. But, you know, that's what a lot of these guys like to do. They like to throw away lap 1, see what they can do on the racetrack. There's a throwback for you. Sam Dyer on the racetrack, and, you know, something we haven't seen on a racetrack since Tony Stewart's days.
Sam Dyer sporting the Tony Stewart 2008 throwback paint scheme. Zachary King on the racetrack in this evening's sponsors colors, K1 Speed. It's the K1 Speed 250 for this 247-mile event, and he will be sporting those beautiful K1 Speed colors this evening. It's a good-looking race car, although he's a little bit off pace in qualifying. 27th quick, looking for more for sure. Here's Sam Dyer across the stripe to go a little bit faster and bump Zachary King down a spot, it looks like, because that is a 30.635. That's good for 12 from Sam Dyer. 12th position, I tell you. That is a monster run from him. And the broadcaster by day, racer by night will be moving up in the order.
That he will.
Cole Younger, 30th quick so far, and it looks like everybody has run all of their laps. We're just waiting on the timer to officially tick down to the end because Younger is on lap number 4 here and gets into the outside wall.
A little more tests have never hurt anybody. Get a few laps in, get a rhythm maybe. Just see what you can do with the race car.
While qualifying ends, let's take a look at this season's schedule. We come in this evening for race number 8, Chicagoland Speedway. Next week it's Pocono, then Darlington, Daytona, IRP, and Michigan. That chase is fast approaching. We have got a lot of Pocono in our blood this week. We've got a Pocono race tomorrow night with the Simrat Market Series. That is a little precursor as to what we'll see here for the BRB Racing League next Tuesday. We just saw a Simrat Market race at Darlington, so we've got an idea of what Darlington might look like for this BRB Racing League. And then we know what Daytona is going to be like. The unknown here for us moving into the back end of the regular season will be IRP, that short track for race number 12. That is a big unknown for these guys. We don't know what that race is going to look like. We'll find out when we get there in February. Cars are headed to the grid. Let's take a look at your lucky performance starting grid this evening. Mason Hausman on pole. Stephen Borbell from second spot in car number 2. Starting third, it'll be Dustin Stallings. Starting fourth, Brendan Maddox. Starting fifth place this evening, Adam Buzzio in car number 5, with Braxton Skinner starting from 6th. Starting 7th and 8th, Jared Hughes and Evan Patinko. 9th and 10th, Dakota Camper and Richard Wolsifer.
Rolling on outside the top 10, Zachary Brandvold and Sam Dyer. They're going to be starting in row number 6, 11th and 12th on the grid, and then 13th and 14th, Matthew Catania and Isaiah Sutherland. Expect to see him a little bit further up the running order, so we'll see how his race turns out. 15th and 16th, Gray Walker and Zachary Maddox. They'll be bringing up that end of that portion of the starting grid. 17th and 18th is going to roll off with Johnny Wood Jr. and Robert Moyer. Expect to see Johnny Wood Jr. a little bit further up, but hey, he's got a long race to go before he settles for where he's starting. 19th and 20th on the grid, though, Andrew, is going to be Jamie Plord and Patrick Hernandez.
Hernandez back for the first time after his incident at Red Bull Ring a couple of weeks ago. Starting 21st will be Cody Dorsey in the 88 car. 22nd rather. It will be Coulter Clark in the 54 car. Starting 23rd properly this time is Carl Pooler alongside Cole Lewis. Back in row number 13, it'll be Jason Bottoms and Eric Jensen in the 99 car. And starting from 27th, how about Scott Fritz alongside of Atlanta winner Zachary King. Finally, to complete the order, it's Dakota Bly and Cole Younger. 30 cars in all. A strong 30-car field, though, as we get rolling off of the starting grid. Let's take a look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. 165 laps, 40 laps in stage 1, 40 laps in stage 2, 85 laps in stage 3. No fast repair is the highlight despite the 5 change sets of tires and 80% fuel. That no fast repair is a big deal for these guys this evening.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of things that unfolded last week at Nashville. A lot of headlines really to cover for tonight, but we'll get to that later on in the race. And, you know, as always, we got 3 green-white checkers available, so I'm looking forward to see if we have to use them. But these guys are all lined up, Andrew. The track temp and the air temp is going to be relatively okay for the night. 71 degrees on the air temp, 73 degrees on the racetrack, so it's not going to be too slick for these guys. It's going to be relatively easy going, hopefully, in terms of race conditions. But hey, the conditions of the race are all well and good, but these guys are going to be the ones that are deciding factors of their race. They got to be real easy around each other. They don't have a fast repair to fall back on, so this is going to be one heck of a show tonight, I'll say.
That no fast repair will be a complication for these guys for sure. Into the Geico restart zone for the first time this evening. We are green in the K1 Speed 250 at Chicagoland. One car slow off the banking, everybody else keeps it going straight. Into turn number 3, it's Mason Houseman. Stephen Borbell there in the second spot. Last week's winner, Dustin Stallings in third. Adam Buzzio, who won on fuel mileage a season ago, he's up there in fourth. Here comes Brendan Maddox for fifth.
We could get 3 wide here. Braxton Skinner took a look up to the top, but it looks like he's going to stay in line as Buzzio went all the way down to the apron to see if he could make any ground up. That's going to be one thing that's going to take a hit on these tires, is going down to that apron a lot. The fast speeds, the constant turning on that front straightaway is going to take a heavy toll, especially on the right front. But it looks like Adam Buzzio is going to get clear away for fourth. We'll look at Braxton Skinner. He's trying to move up on the high side. Buzzio challenging for third.
Buzzio driving by the 0 car. Dustin Stallings falling back to fourth, now fifth, as he's got severe connection issues going on. That's going to hinder his day, and everybody giving him room and not really knowing where he is. Up front, though, here we go. Stephen Borbell challenging for the race lead off of turn number 2. He will get to the outside of Mason Houseman and will charge to the race lead.
These guys do know it's lap number 3, right? They're racing like they've got nothing to lose, and Borbell goes to the front, taking the lead away from the 78 of Mason Houseman. Now Adam Buzzio, he's closed up to that fight for the lead. He's challenging for second, and he's looking underneath the 78 here on the front straightaway. Adam Buzzio seems to love going down to that apron. It's definitely his best friend as he goes purple.
Buzzio fastest that lap. These cool tires warming up, taking on temperature. They've got a lot of grip right now, but as the run goes on, of course, they're going to lose all that grip. These cars are going to lose turn in the corner, might get loose, might get tight, depending on how much these guys push each corner of the race car. They feel like Superman right now, Zach, I tell you what.
They can feel like Superman all they want. Those tires will end up being their kryptonite by the end of these heat cycles. You know, we get an early caution, that's a heat cycle on them, and that's a little bit of a time for a cool down, and you can really start to make another challenge at it. But hey, you never really know how the race is going to go, and the green flag stays out. Buzzio challenges for the lead. Patinko sitting in front of a big fight going on. Hernandez, Catania, Walker, they're all over the place. But one person who is definitely on rails right now, Adam Buzzio, new race leader on lap number 6.
Got a chance to defend that win from a season ago. Did it on fuel mileage last season. Would like to do it on outright speed here this evening. He's looking good so far in car 5. Moves up to the race lead. But how much is he going to burn those tires up doing this? Mason Houseman has sat back. And I mean, it's Mason Houseman, right? He's got 2 wins in the season already. He's the defending champion. I feel like if he's sitting back, everybody else should be sitting back too.
You know, I can't really disagree on that one. There's so much open availability at the moment on the racetrack. Chicago is known for being a track that you can easily make passes, but just as easily lose them with how the racing sets up. Not to mention, I mean, there were 17 guys all within a tenth of a second during practice when they were all tearing it up on the racetrack. Now we're going 3 wide. Walker to the bottom, Catania in the middle, Hughes up on the top. Braxton Skinner might get involved here. That's what I'm saying. You can easily take these passes and easily give them up.
On board with Matthew Catania. He runs in 5th. Jared Hughes there in the 6th position. Catania goes all the way down to the inside lane, right on the white line. Hughes got the outside wall that time, so he falls back. And you see now, alongside of that 33 goes the 18 of Catania. Moving up, racing for 4th position. Here comes Patrick Hernandez in the 91 car moving forward. And Patinko has dropped outside of the top 10. He was just up there in 6th. He's now 11th.
Moving forward and dropping back. That's the name of racing sometimes. We see all the moving around these guys are doing. Look at Braxton Skinner jump to the bottom right in front of that 18. Now Mason Houseman drops down to the bottom. So you got a single file line, and Catania loses all the air off his nose. And he's going to start going backwards. He has to go to the apron to get defensive, but that's 2 positions you lost right there. And that's a common occurrence here at Chicago, Andrew. It's a little bit of contact there with the 54, Coulter Clark. But as I was saying, the one common occurrence that we see in racing Chicagoland right now is, you know, getting the air taken off your nose. It can make the car super, super tight. When you got a car onto your outside, the only thing you can do is let up out of the gas. You can't chase it up the racetrack to hold on. You've got to let out, and you're going to lose more spots that way.
Here comes Patrick Hernandez up to the 4th position on the outside lane, feeling like he's invincible right now in that Toyota Gazoo Racing number 91 car. He has got some big-time short-run speed. There it is, a crash. Jared Hughes in the outside wall. Isaiah Sutherland along with him. Wolsifer is going to smash in, and that is day done for Jared Hughes in the 98 car. And I think that's going to be a lesson learned for birthday boy Richard Wolsifer. I think maybe, and I might eat my words, I'll admit, but it looked like he zoomed in there pretty quick.
Richard Wolsifer and Jared Hughes both have pit for repair flags, so that is going to be a hindrance on their day. So early on in the race, Andrew, there you see Sutherland and Coulter Clark getting together, and then Hughes just spins right back up, and boom! Big impacts for Wolsifer.
That was Coulter Clark that got in the door of the 98 car. So watch that Red Bull 54 machine as they work out of turn number 2 here. He was the car that nearly got into the 18 of Catania about a lap prior. Or I actually think he did make contact, and this time comes off the quarter, just door slaps the 98 car, and that puts the 98 into a bit of a spin. Wolsifer just came in there so fast.
I think he thought he could shoot the gap or something right there, and it didn't exactly work out in his favor.
Do want to extend a happy birthday to Richard Wolsifer. Turned another year old yesterday. Unfortunately, there's this that happens.
Oh, he noticed Hughes turn it back down the racetrack. He saw the gap was there. Smoke cleared. Boom, there's the 98. Tries to turn back to the right.
Watch here. Watch the RPMs. He's in the gas, in the gas, in the gas. Lifts. There. No, there. And I think with no fast repair, these guys are going to learn they've got to lift way sooner. That was just way too late.
True it be. And it looks like Richard Wolsifer is taking that car to the garage. He's going to be done for the event. He doesn't look like he's going to keep on continuing.
I'm sorry, I just noticed we didn't have broadcast graphics. Hang on, let me fix that. No broadcast graphics in the replay scene. Boom, there they are. Right about, well, so we're going to watch the RPMs. 8,600, 8,700 before he lifts. Right there he lifts.
Yeah, that's way too close to be lifting. I mean that in the sense of he should have lifted way sooner. Oh, man. Well, I think Race Control was placing that on Richard Wolsifer. No. Excuse me.
Clark.
Pardon me.
Coulter Clark.
Coulter Clark. Coulter Clark was given the EOL penalty, and he was thrown to... Actually, hold on a second. Mind my words. Coulter Clark was given a black flag, but he was not given an EOL penalty, because usually when we're told by Race Control that a driver has received an EOL penalty, usually it'll be a little pop-up on-screen message that you, the viewers at home, can't see. It's something that Andrew and I have a little access to, is that it'll show us the driver received an EOL penalty. That's usually what we will see. It's word for word, EOL penalty, but it just says black flag. So I'm not too particularly sure what the penalty is for Coulter Clark, but he is at the end of the tail end of the line, so we'll have to wait and see.
It'll be a drive-through. That was part of the rules bulletin released. Let's see, it was on the 17th. That was Friday, I believe. Some rules updates here in the BRB Racing League. It'll be a drive-through for the first caution, parked after the second caution caused. So very strict move there to try and clean up some of the racing. Green flag coming back out here. Lap 14, now lap 15. Down the backstretch, here we go. Everybody vying for position, but Adam Buzzio out front. Everybody stayed out, aside from Eric Jensen, Johnny Wood Jr., Cole Lewis, Jason Bottoms, and a few stragglers at the back end of the field.
Everyone's spacing out as Adam Buzzio jumps out to a 0.3 of a second lead. Hernandez rotating up to the top. See if he gets a run here. He's going to pull up to the quarter panel, and that's going to put him alongside of the two of Stephen Borbell going into turn number 3. Just might, no, they're going to stay alongside. Hernandez not fully clear just yet. Pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Ah, it's real close.
He's got him clear now. Hernandez does. Here comes Catania in the 18 car. He's going to race up to the outside of Stephen Borbell. And that's going to bring the 25 of Gray Walker and the 78 of Mason Houseman along with potentially, as the 54 of Clark has served that penalty.
Weird to see Mason Houseman falling down the running order just a little bit. He was up towards the front leading this race. Now Adam Buzzio controls that as the fight for second continues to heat up. Hernandez is really starting to pull into frame. Like you said, Andrew, he had been gone for a couple weeks after the Red Bull Ring and wasn't in attendance for Nashville, and now here he is trying to get up to the second spot, but Catania's going to hang on as a couple of them scrape the wall down the back straightaway.
Well, Hernandez had it. Catania got it away, so the rookie moving forward here, car 18, looking very quick this evening, and we've been very vocal about the fact that these guys coming over at CFM Esports, like Catania, like Fritz and others, have been dirt racers in the past, trying out this pavement thing this evening. And I know Scott Fritz has got other pavement experience under his belt, but I don't know about Catania. I don't know about guys like Cole Younger. They're a little more green to this asphalt stuff. It's working well for Catania. He has looked on the verge of a race win this season multiple times. He's in the top 10 in points. This could be the night. He's moving forward to Adam Buzzio here. He's got speed. Maybe this is the night that car 18 breaks through.
That it could be. A win for that 18 car would be relatively perfect for his oh my goodness, I'm so tempted to say playoffs, but it's chase. For his chase chances. But Stephen Borbell still fighting with Patrick Hernandez, who is now starting to slip back a little bit. Those tires might have gotten a little worn out as he is slipping ever so further back from that 2 car. That bumper getting further and further away as Mason Houseman is drawing in. Zachary Maddox, Gray Walker, Brandvold, Fritz, and Camper, your top 10. And all the way back to Evan Patinko. We've got some single file racing going on.
Getting a single file here at Chicago. There you see that long line of cars extending back through Evan Patinko in the 11th spot. Back to 12th position here. Cody Dorsey in the 12th position. There we go. Alongside Braxton Skinner. And there is a special paint scheme right behind there in that 8 car. I guess on that 8 car. We'll talk about it a little bit here. That is Brendan Maddox in the number 8 with the Ohio Buckeyes on the side of that number 8 Toyota Camry. He lost a bet when Texas played Ohio, and then Ohio went and won the whole dang thing anyways. And I don't think he's the happiest man that he's got to run. Oh, he's not going to be happy right here. Hello. I thought he was getting turned by Carl Pooler. That was close. These guys leaning on each other. That was a really good save. He's not happy he just got hit, but he's happy he saved it.
I'd be too. I wouldn't care about a bet right there. My car's okay. That's all I'm worried about. As Cole Younger, the guy who just went purple a few laps ago, is trying to fight him and take that spot away. He got in front of Carl Pooler. Pooler is trying to find where he wants to go. He didn't know if he wanted to stay on the bottom or rotate back to the top. It looks like he's going to fall in line behind the 8. And I don't know about you, Andrew, but that big old green thing right there didn't exactly look like a Buckeye to me.
Well, up front, Adam Buzzio, Matthew Catania, and Stephen Borbell, your top 3. Patrick Hernandez in 4th. Catania just ripped the lip a little bit too hard there. And Borbell is going to drive off the bottom right alongside of Adam Buzzio.
Here we go. This is the race for the lead now. And look at Mason Houseman. He's caught back up to that 91 car of Patrick Hernandez. So call it a 6-7 car race at the moment for the race lead. Buzzio trying to hang on to that top spot, but Borbell wants to get it. Coming to the line, excuse me, there's race ain't over. Buzzio has the lead. Here comes Catania up on the top, trying to pull for second. It's that outside line here at Chicago that really knows how to get it done. The inside line's great if you want to be able to make a move, and a move done. Borbell to the race lead.
The top is good for defending, but it's just not looking too strong right now, I gotta say. As here comes the 91 on the top side of Buzzio. Maybe Buzzio is just struggling on the top side, because right there, you see Hernandez go up top and make the pass work. Hausman's getting it done up top. He goes by Catania. Maybe it's the 5 car. That's the difference maker. Maybe he's just not too good right now. Burned his stuff up and everybody's swallowing him up. I think that's what it is.
I mean, it could be just how these cars are. You know, some drivers prefer the top and some prefer the bottom. So we've seen moves made on the bottom line. We've seen moves made on the top. And there are a lot of these guys that are really starting to rotate up to the top as Buzzio pushes up the racetrack. That rolls Catania into his back bumper.
Yeah, he's burned his tires up.
Yeah, I think that's going to be going backwards for him. No moves being made at the moment. I say that, and look at Hernandez. He's going for the race lead. He's been fighting all race long to get up there. He's been managing his stuff pretty well from the looks of it, because he's fighting for that race lead. Side by side down the back straightaway. I got to say, the sunset as we go down the back straightaway is providing such a great light for these Whiplash cameras.
I'll tell you what, it's better than the fog that we saw in Nashville a week ago, or even at Darlington last week for the Simrat Market Series. That was a rather foggy night at Darlington, but anyhow, these guys racing inside the top 5, top 6 or 7 even, and Patrick Hernandez is going to lead the whole dang thing. He bumps up ahead to the race lead here on lap 27, now 28 at Chicago. You mentioned the 3 wide behind with Hausman, Catania, and Buzzio. They sort that out.
Saw Hausman come back up the racetrack a little bit right in front of Brandfold, and I thought Brandfold honestly tapped the wall down the straightaway, but they roll on single file, and Buzzio fighting to hang on. Really, he keeps dropping back. He's losing spots out the butt, and Borbell hits the wall.
Oh, Borbell falling back big time. He's going to get swallowed up by the 55 of Brandvold and the 5 of Buzzio. And Zachary Maddox is there on the 14 car. Where did he come from? On board with Zachary Maddox, running here in 7th spot. Catania goes down to the inside of house, but you see that happening up ahead. And they're all chasing Patrick Hernandez. I seem to recall him being good here a season ago. Back in season 2, we had coverage here. This is one of the few tracks that we're covering for the second time with the BRB Racing League. And I very much seem to recall him being fast here a season ago. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I'm pretty sure he was. And that just seems to be his style. I don't know. Chicagoland seems to work for him. But here comes Mason Hausman. We talked about him laying back earlier. He has saved his stuff. Here comes car 78 to the front.
Woo, that was close right there off turn number 2. Hausman was going to try to get a run there. Wasn't able to put anything in front off of turn number 2. Like you said, Andrew, that top line is really good defensive. Look at the gap they've built, though. All the way back to 3rd. They've got over half a second back there as they're side by side for 5th and for 7th. So a lot of fighting going on behind.
That's a big run.
Timed it perfectly right there.
Right to the inside of Patrick Hernandez, and we'll move right on by car 91. This should be an easy pick up and move on for the 78 car, and yes, it is. He goes right on by Hernandez, but Hernandez has a draft and will fight back here. Looks to the inside, maybe gives Hausman a shot. An extra shot into the corner for good luck. And Hausman will say thank you and rip that white line and move on by.
And through all the chaos right now that's been unfolding up at the front, apparently Scott Fritz has taken his car to the garage. He's out of the race after about 7 laps ago. So he wasn't involved in a wreck or anything, so really unsure what's going on there. But nonetheless, his day is done as the fighting continues on for the race lead. But camera zooms in on that 3rd place car, Stephen Borbell, who's trying to hang on with Catania up on the top, and Gray Walker, who fell back a little bit at the early goings of this race, is now starting to kind of come into his own, fighting up here in the top 5, trying to take 4th away from that 18, as Borbell, after hitting the wall, is still hanging on.
Gray Walker there blinking a little bit on the inside of Matthew Catania, a couple of rookies here in the BRB Racing League. And look at Dakota Camper into the top 10, looking for the top 5. Was able to finish 3rd last week at Nashville. and moved himself into the top 12, meaning he is chase eligible right now. And I can't get enough of this 3-car. He has got some speed lately. He's turning things up right when he needs to. These last few races of the regular season, he is coming alive and looking very, very strong. And that Chevrolet Camaro now moves up into 5th.
I mean, you think back to the points. He's gained so much. And honestly, right now, Andrew, this is go time. This is 3 wide right behind Evan Buttkicker on the bottom of Gray Walker. This is the go time. And I'm going to sound like a broken record because I'm probably going to say it a ton, but go time is the right time when you really need to take advantage of everything you got going right now. I mean, standings considered, Camper is only 6 points above Zachary King, so he's got to be able to make sure that he's having these great runs that's keeping him in front of those drivers that he's racing against. You know, it's not about winning the race at this point, it's just about winning the war. You know, you take a little victories here and there, that's perfectly fine, and the wins will come.
We mentioned him battling with Zachary King in the points. Zachary King runs in 21st right now, and Dakota Camper just cracked the top 5. There's a big difference right there between those two as Gray Walker cracks the fence, cracks it again.
And up to 4th goes Dakota Camper. As Gray Walker continues to fight with Evan Buttkicker. That outside line's really starting to work for a lot of these drivers. And hang on. Zachary Brandful has just been removed from the race.
Wow. We'll wait on word there as to what happened. But we are inside of 3 laps to go to the end of stage number 1. Mason Houseman leading the way. Second place, Patrick Hernandez. Third, Stephen Borbell. Houseman just about grabs the wall there off of turn number 4, but it's 2 laps to go in stage 1. We'll jump on board with car 91 here, trying to chase down Mason Houseman.
Hernandez really sticking up there on the top. He is committed to that line, Andrew. Hasn't really left it the entirety of the race. See the little gains right there off of turn 2. Sutherland just gets back out on the racetrack and goes quickest right there. Although he is currently sitting right around 23 laps down. So
well, here we go. The end of the stage, lap 40 complete. And that'll be stage number 1. Patrick Hernandez not able to catch Mason Houseman. And there's the yellow flag. Mason Houseman, stage winner in stage number 1 at Chicagoland Speedway. An update on Zachary Brandvold. What we're being told, Zach, is that he was removed from the server accidentally.
Oh boy. Well, little misclick, but
just one of those days. Mason Houseman comes around out of turn number 2 and picks up the iRacing.com pace car. Lights on and everything. And we should see everybody come on in and pit this time by. New paint scheme for that 78 car. One of the few paint schemes he's run this season. And it's a good look for him. I like the red, white, and blue Costco colors on that 78 Toyota Camry.
You know, I've never actually shopped at Costco.
You know, I don't have a membership. I've been there a couple of times in my life, but one day. Here we go, into the pit lane. Houseman leads the charge. Everybody comes on in. You see the single file line. Everybody coming in. Sutherland will stay out. He is 23 laps down. Just rejoining the race. Jared Hughes still in the pit lane.
And into the box. Race leader Mason Houseman.
Oh, and Buzzio slid it pretty bad. Yeah,
you see the tire marks right there entering the pit box. That's going to be detrimental for his stop. Everyone's already up onto the left sides, and he's still stuck there. Coming out, Hausman, Borbell.
And we will dial up driver number 78 here in just a moment. Mason Hausman, once again, a stage winner here in the BRB Racing League. Stage number 1 here at Chicago belongs to you, Mason. How did you know to save your stuff and go at just the right time to get up there and get the race lead and hold off Patrick Hernandez?
You know, I noticed a lot of these guys were really pushing hard into the corners. I think earlier we saw Braxton, and I think the other one was Catania. They were really diving it hard into the corners, but, you know, it was kind of something that our team has been practicing a lot. Sadly, Dustin had a little bit of a blinking issue there, and Brendan had some bad luck. So they'd be right up here with me on the tire problem. But, yeah, it was just something I've been practicing a lot, getting off the corners earlier and, you know, just trying to conserve that tire for as long as you can, because these tires are very valuable around here.
Tires being very valuable, do we see a similar stage presence from you where you sit back and then go late, or do you want to spill those beans yet?
We'll see. We'll see how the stage plays out. You know, we could have a bunch of cautions to stage, but yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. Hopefully I can do what I did again, and hopefully win stage 2.
And of course, you're still the points leader. You come in here just 1 win shy, I believe, of Sutherland, right? Or are you guys still tied? You're still tied, I think.
Yes,
anyways,
we're still tied.
Yeah, so if you can break that tie here this evening, how important would that be to you?
You know, it'd be really, really good, because I know Isaiah got into an earlier incident, so sad luck for him. But I don't want any of that happening to a competitor. But you know, just trying to keep clicking these laps off, seeing if I can get my nose up there in front when we have the checkered flag.
Best of luck to you. Hopefully we'll talk to you again later.
Yes, thank you.
That's Mason Hausman coming around to get the green flag in just a moment. Stephen Borbell will restart second, Catania from third, Camper from fourth, then Wood and Walker. And into the Geico restart zone here to complete stage 1 and start stage number 2. We are green in the K1 Speed 250 once again. Racing down the backstretch, look at them, 2, 3 wide in places, but mostly getting single file out front. Hausman leading, Borbell second, Catania third, Wood fourth. Johnny Wood Jr. getting up here. Where did he come from?
I don't know, Andrew, but like I said, in pre-race, I expected him to be further up, and he's got time to make it happen, and it looks like he's using that time wisely. Borbell's going right back to the front. Swoops in, down on the bottom, takes it away. He says thank you to Mason Hausman, and rolls on through as Catania trying to fight for that third spot. There's Dakota Camper, Gray Walker, Patrick Hernandez still in the mix. Now these guys got a fresh set. They're able to see what happened in that run with those tires, and maybe they'll think about being a little bit more conservative.
I doubt it. These guys are on it this evening. It's a lot of fun to watch them.
Anzio.
A lot of fun to watch them on these new tires. Go for it. Single file now back to Hernandez and Walker. Hernandez going to push through in fifth. Here comes Camper on the outside. Catania on the inside of Johnny Wood Jr. They stay fighting. That's for third. On board with Dakota Camper.
The lights are on here at Chicagoland Speedway. So that means the racing is turning up. These drivers are going to have more grip. Track's going to cool down. Might actually benefit these tires a little bit more as the run goes on if the track temp and the air temp cools down. And you see Dakota Camper being one of those drivers who's taking advantage of ripping up on the top side, but he's not all the way to the wall. He's taking about a lane and a half off. So he's running more the middle of the groove. But it's really seeming like it's working for him, hanging on in front of that 25 car. As Catania is still trying to hang on to the bottom. Hernandez has been committed to the top all race. Catania slides up, a little bit of contact, but that is clear and away for third for Hernandez.
Tanya working the inside still. He goes back to the inside of Patrick Hernandez, who scrapes the outside wall just a little bit. Catania's using the entire racetrack. I mean, he is using the entire thing. He's all the way down to the grass on the front stretch, all the way down to the white line of the corners. He's using every bit of that inside line. It's Catania. It's impressive because it takes a lot of gall to get down there right on the grass in the front stretch, to not clip it, to be absolutely picture perfect there, and get right down to that first blade of grass. That takes, again, like I said, it takes a lot of gall. It takes a lot of perfection.
Well, he's doing it perfectly right now. Still hanging tough with Hernandez. Mason Hausman, however, has closed back up on Steven Borbell. So they're trying to race for the lead at the moment. He's got about an even spread between himself and first and himself and third, really. As Johnny Wood Jr. is now single file in front of Dakota Camper as well. Look at Hernandez, the first time he's jumping off the top line. Big ol' send into turn number 3. He's going to get side by side with Hausman, force him up the racetrack, and he's muscling him into the wall for second.
Hausman grabs the outside wall just a bit. Car looks okay. And I think that might be his cue to drop back and let these guys duke it out for a while. He's only got to get to lap 80 here. Hernandez back up the racetrack again. I asked him point blank, would you sit back and wait again in stage 2? And he said, we'll see. I don't know. I think I would get out of the way of these guys on their new tires and let them do their thing for a little bit and come back to them later on, just like he did in stage 1. I think that might be the way to go.
With how hard Hernandez pushes up the racetrack coming off corner exit, I really got to think that he's pushing those tires a lot harder than we think he is. Catania grabs the wall, some contact with Johnny Wood Jr. on the front straightaway. Look at Hernandez, Johnny Wood Jr. ripping that white line back up the racetrack, and Hernandez muscles Hausman in the wall. He's not going to take anything of it. He is not happy at all. Forces Hernandez down the racetrack.
Can't be doing that, though, when you don't have a fast repair. There is dents now all up and down the left side of that 78 car. The 91 looks okay. Here's a look back from the 78 to the 91. Well, it was a look back anyway.
Yeah, look at Hausman. He's not cutting that 91 any brakes now. Takes the air right off the side of the car. Now they're going to get 3 wide behind. Hernandez tries to block Johnny Wood Jr. Now they're 3 wide. Buzzio goes around the top. Cuts in front of the 91. That's going to take the air right off his nose. Look at Buzzio right in front of Johnny Wood Jr. That's 75 dropping back now. Buzzio really capitalizing on the situation at hand.
And here comes Hausman right back to the front. Right back to the race lead. He's going to bring Catania up top. Buzzio down low. But Borbell powers through turns 1 and 2 and has the advantage down the back straight here on lap 55. Now it shifts over to Hausman, who's got the run off the top side of the racetrack.
Catania trying to make the top line work. He had a lane up there, wasn't able to take advantage of it. Hausman shuts the door. Hernandez back into the mix. He's looking outside that 18 car, stays in line. Buzzio's right next to him, gives the 18 a shot into the corner. And looking from the top-down view, this is the race for the lead. Side by side off of turn number 2. Borbell trying to hang on the door of that 78. Catania getting another push from the 91. That's going to put the 18 in the wall. But he still has a solid run through the corner, and he's hanging tough with the leaders.
Side by side, flipping who has the advantage each and every straightaway, it feels like. But this time, Hausman surges ahead and shuts the door down low. He will claim the race lead for himself and himself only. He moves out ahead of this field, on board with Matthew Catania, who now rides in second place, and is going to try to use this top side to his advantage, something these dirt guys are known for. Think to Kyle Larson, running the outside lane at these mile-and-a-half racetracks, running, rim riding the top side of the racetrack, places like Chicago, places like Miami, and using it to their advantage to move forward. And we're seeing that out of Catania. I know he's a dirt racer. I don't want to pound home that same, what is it, what's the word?
Demographic?
No, not quite. I can't rack my... stereotype, thank you. I don't want to keep racking the same stereotype, but it's working clearly. This time he dives down low and shows his asphalt side breaking through and will power to the race lead. Matthew Catania leads lap 58.
I was going to say, I don't know if you saw the Chili Bowl this year, but Kyle Larson didn't exactly use the top side. He used the freaking wall. So there's so much going on with the dirt racing scene at the moment. These dirt racers Can't exactly take riding the wall into asphalt racing, but hey, you know, the video game move worked once, it could work again. We'll see. As Hausman stays single file, he's got Hernandez on his back bumper. This is a scene that I'm not exactly looking forward to seeing how it plays out, because Hausman and Hernandez have already got a little bit of beef going on. Now they're close back together as the race further on back continues on. Buzzio in front of Camper, who's side by side with Johnny Wood Jr. in that 75 car, trying to move back forward as he's just been able to crack the top 10 today in this second stage. And Justin Stallings a little bit further back there. Gray Walker on the outside, and the race for the lead. Well, Hausman is looking to try and take it back.
It's spicing up once again as they drive up out of turn number 4. Everybody under a blanket, the whole top 10 within 1/10. And Patrick Hernandez slams the outside wall there into turn 1. He was looking to the outside of Hausman, and that hole closed up quick. Borbell going to have an opportunity now on the inside of the 91 car. He drives up underneath there, and he's going to bring Buzzio, or at least try to, as they run side by side into turn number 3.
I think we're all playing a game of chicken at this point, as who still actually has a faster pair? Best guess? No one. Titania taking Hausman to the apron. Race for the lead heating up. A little bit of contact there between Borbell and Hernandez as they fight for third. Buzzio's just saying, keep on fighting, let me draw back in. As the fighting continues on, Hernandez taps the wall again.
Justin Stallings, last week's winner, up here in the top 10. He is now 9th spot, make it 8th as he works on Gray Walker. Walker's going to have the run back off the corner. He gets back ahead of the 0. That's going to bring Carl Pooler into the top 10. We talked about Pooler having a bad day at Nashville a week ago. This would be a great opportunity to get back up on the horse and show these guys what for. He needs some points. He needs all of the points that he can get to get back into chase contention as these races wind down closer and closer to the chase. I mean, this is a very important time for car 71 this evening. Running now 11th, Jamie Plord just went by, so he's moving the wrong direction in this race. He was moving forward, but starting to head the wrong way.
See Maddox up there up on the top, trying to hang on to that spot in front of Carl Pooler. You see Jensen's coming into the mix. Hausman, however, has taken the race lead away from that 18 Chevrolet. And now, you've got Borbell and Hernandez falling back in. Hernandez in the wall again. He is not having a good time in that 91 car. A little bit of contact for second as well as Buzzio comes into the mix for 4th. You think they're being easier on the tires, sticking so close to Hausman this late in the stage?
We're going to find out, I'll tell you that much, as we hit 100 laps to go this time by. We're going to find out very quickly if these guys have saved any rubber or if they've used it all up. This time by, 100 laps to go at Chicagoland Speedway. Call it 15 here in the stage.
Still side by side for that second spot. Borbell pushes up. Catania keeps it off the wall. They're going to stay side by side down the back straightaway. Buzzio grabs the wall going into the corner. A lot of drivers really getting some stripes here. I say that, and there goes Borbell.
You can see just how quickly he was moving towards the outside wall there, and it wasn't slowing down. He got the wall pretty good. Here comes Hernandez and Buzzio. This is a very different race from a season ago so far, and it's going to continue to be. The fuel run length that these guys anticipate is about 46 to 50 laps, somewhere in there. And of course, when you get into stage 3, it's going to be pretty much a splash and dash. I expect some 2-tire pit stops. I expect some 4-tire pit stops. But I think it's going to be a battle between those two opportunities, those two different options, if you will, for strategy to see who wins this race. And if you look back to Darlington for the Simrat Market Series last Wednesday, we saw a very similar battle of basically, do you take 2 or do you take 4? and I do believe it was 4 that won at Darlington.
I think 4 is going to win tonight. You know, I don't want to start speaking on possibilities at the moment, but
Well, that's our job.
I think, well, I mean, yeah, but we still got a lot of time in this race. So it's hard to pinpoint what the good strategy is going to be, because say we get a long green flag run in the last stage. Let me knock on wood for that one real quick. You know, say we get a long green flag run, it could potentially change the whole dynamic, because as Hernandez taps the wall again, if you are really good at getting your tires saved, then the left sides are not going to take too much of a beating. And you could just pop on 2 rights and call it a day. Or if you really want to try to make some headway, or make some hay, as a lot of people like to refer to it as, you could pop 4 tires on that car, you could pop some fuel in it, and you could run off out there. But let's keep something in mind, Andrew. The same amount of time it takes to fuel the car, put a full tank of gas in it, is the same amount of time it takes to put 2 right sides on that car. So you could just call it 2 rights and call it a day.
I want to say it was a nice move by the 2 car to get up ahead of the 91 a couple of laps ago. And that moves Borbell back up into 2nd position as these guys run with now 10 laps to go, coming to 9 to go in stage number 2. We haven't really gone through the field much this evening. The action has been out front, so we'll try to do our best here. Let's drop back to 15th. Cody Dorsey runs in the 15th spot right now in car number 88. Started 21st, up 6 spots, and is looking for more as he works behind his teammate Evan Buttkicker. Buttkicker chasing down his rival from a season ago, Jamie Plord. These two battled at the chase cutoff line week in, week out. Buttkicker ended up winning that fight and ran in the chase last season, passing up Plord in the standings. There's Plord in 14th and now dropping back to 15th spot. Up in 12th, you find Eric Jensen in the 99 car. Recently moved into the top 24 here in the standings and is on the rise, has put together a bunch of solid runs. He's starting to get more racetracks than he's been to before. Comes back here for the 2nd time now with the BRB Racing League, I do believe. Gray Walker. Oh, he's in the outside wall at a turn number 3. Hello. But he drops back down to the 11th position right alongside of Adam Buzzio. Carl Puller there in 9th. And you see the contact between Catania and Maddox there, racing for about 7th position. And that about catches you up to where we were, where we've been watching with these guys, with Camper in 6th, Wood in 5th, Stallings in 4th, and your top 3 remain unchanged.
You see Catania taking a look back to the inside, Brendan Maddox. That outside line, big runs, taking all the air off that 18. Taps the wall for Brendan Maddox, but still rolling on. And look at that, Andrew. Everyone's starting to use the apron now. Everyone's going down there. That whole single file line just went down to the apron to keep hanging on to these spots. And I say hanging on to spots. One thing I completely didn't notice is Adam Buzzio has dropped just outside, well, just relatively inside the top 10. He's fighting with Catania right now for that 9th spot. There's Carl Puller, who's looking outside the top 10 trying to get in. And he might get it here as he gets to the outside of that 18 car. Hello, top 10, Carl Puller, if he can make this pass right here as Gray Walker taps the wall. Big puff of smoke right there.
When we did that little top 15 recap, Puller was in and dropped back out as Walker moved forward. Walker was the 1 car outside the top 10 in this fight. He has now moved up, and Catania falls back into the 11th position. Nothing changing up ahead. Borbell now just about 3/10 off of the 78 car as we hit 4 to go in stage number 2. And these guys all run single file. The only surprise to me so far in the top 5 is the 0 car moving forward. Last week's winner at Nashville, Dustin Stallings, sporting that same paint scheme from a week ago in honor of Daniel Gonzalez. A really cool paint scheme, really cool story, really cool meaning, and a really good run so far as he's going to look to the inside of Borbell and Hernandez. Here we go, 3 wide across the stripe. That is for 2nd place. Here comes Wood on the outside lane.
3 wide for a moment there, and then got 3 wide again, just with 1 different driver on the outside line. Stallings goes up the racetrack. He's going to have to look to the inside by Dakota Camper. This is all for the 2nd spot. Oh, Camper's going to get alongside here going into turn number 3. That's 75 with Johnny Wood. Down to the white line, takes all the air off of the 91. Stallings hanging on.
Ray Walker gets the wall. 2 laps to go in stage 2. Dakota Camper had a big run and fell back a little bit there at the stripe, but he runs 4th now, working on 3rd place, Johnny Wood Jr. This pulls Borbell out of the top 2, moves him back to 5th. Maddox, Brendan Maddox up to 7th place. And we'll come around and get the white flag for stage number 2, this time by. You're watching the battle for second on back.
Single file, these top 4 cars all chasing Mason Houseman. A little bit of fighting going on behind him with Hernandez still stuck on the outside line. Oh, there's contact behind him. Everyone was shifting around, but it looks like we're going to stay clean, stay green. Camper with a move up to the top. He's trying to defend, or excuse me, he's trying to chase down Johnny Wood Jr. for that 3rd spot. There was a big move, but it's not going to do any good back there as Mason Houseman takes the green and white checkered flag, wins stage number 2.
It'll be Houseman, Stallings, Wood, Camper, Borbell, Hernandez, Walker, Maddox, Buzzio, Pooler. And it is, once again, a stage win from Mason Houseman, meaning we will not talk to Mason Houseman at the end of this caution. We will talk to 2nd place driver, Dustin Stallings. And wouldn't you know it, Dustin Stallings happens to be a teammate. So keeping it in the Maverick Motorsports camp this evening for the interviews so far. And Houseman talked about how he wanted to get his teammates up there, and if not for a couple of issues those guys were having, how they would have been up there. Well, wouldn't you know, Dustin Stallings comes home in stage 2, 2nd place. Brendan Maddox in, let's see, 8th position it looks like. So clearly, those Maverick Motorsports cars are good.
That they are. They're really making moves on the grid tonight. And now, pit stops. That's where speed doesn't matter. That's where the crew matters.
Oh, speed matters just in a whole different way.
Well, you're not wrong. Lights and stop the pace car lead the way as Mason Houseman leads them down onto the pit lane here off of turn number 4. There you see them all dipping down. Single file as they run. Time to see who wins the race off pit road. Ooh. Oh, well, I was going to say a couple cars staying out, but they're getting their laps back.
Here comes everybody back to pit lane. Houseman leads the charge. Borbell, Stallings, Maddox, Buzzio all hitting the box very nicely. Here they come off pit lane. A couple of cars starting to leave their boxes. Wood, Hernandez, Camper, Houseman down and away first. Stallings 2nd. So not much is going to change out front.
I'll tell you something is going to change out front. I thought those cars were staying out to get their laps back. Sutherland was. Robert Moyer was not. So Houseman wins the race off pit road, but your race leader at the moment is Robert Moyer Jr. in that 16 Toyota Camry.
He will have to pit. He did not pit there in stage number 2, so he will have to come down to the pit lane.
We'll have to see here. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to stay out. Coming off turn number 4 right here. Sutherland dips in. And Moyer stays out.
Very interesting from Robert Moyer Jr. Maybe he's trying to save some fuel and eliminate a pit stop. I don't know.
It is a point for leading a lap. So...
Well, let's dial up Dustin Stallings here before the caution comes to a close. Dustin Stallings, fresh off a win at Nashville a week ago. You come out here and go 2nd in stage number 2. When we talked to Mason after winning stage 1, he was talking about how he wanted to get you and Brennan and Zachary up here on some tire strategy. Is that what worked for you in stage 2?
I believe so. I took the 2nd stage a little easy at the beginning part. My connection issue kind of put me behind the 8 ball a little bit, but since I'm back up here, and maybe I can start clicking off laps and try to be there at the end.
So how important are tires here at Chicago? Of course, it is an older surface here on iRacing. How important are those tires?
Very, very, very important. You'll definitely tell if you're pushing way too hard. Like if you're pushing hard right out the gate, you'll just fall off like pretty quick, like about 10 or 15 laps in.
We'll get you back up to your teammates, but congratulations on P2 and Stage 2.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we'll work into the Geico restart zone here one more time. Robert Moyer Jr. out front, and I don't think he was in the right gear. He's going to pull off and let the entire field go by. A big mistake. No, we know these guys can go about 50 laps nearly on a tank of fuel, and with that caution, he would be out of gas. That had to be a wrong gear.
45 laps, the fuel distance for these guys, so it's relatively similar fuel window to about what we had in the stage. I mean, we had a few laps under caution, but I don't know. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe he did miss a gear, but up front, Mason Hausman back to the race lead as per usual, where he's been majority of the race tonight. Patrick Hernandez right behind him, so those two back onto their usual fight that they've had tonight. Mason Hausman has led about half of the completed laps tonight, and he looks to keep on leading more.
You've got 4 Toyota Camrys leading this race. A season ago, it was all Chevrolet and Ford. You were hard-pressed to find a Toyota, one of the only ones since Richard Smith. Now you have 4 leading at Chicago. 3 from one team, that being Maverick Motorsports. The team efforts here in this series, just incredible. And it's so incredible to see how these teams have grown over the course of a season or so. Maverick Motorsports growing into 4 cars this season, picking up Mason Hausman, last season's champion. I mean, there's no better move you can make in the offseason than to pick up the champion of the series. That is unheard of, being able to do that as Hernandez races to the outside of Hausman here on these new tires. That's not too crazy. We've seen this before in the previous 2 stages. These guys race up there early and then fall back there late. Here comes Borbell on the inside of Stallings. Pooler along there with him. And you know who's come back from a penalty, Zach? Right on the inside here of one of his teammates. Braxton Skinner going to go behind him. It's going to be Coulter Clark fighting back from that penalty, from that one caused caution earlier this evening on about lap 11. And since then, we haven't seen another caution for cause.
No. Don't do that, Andrew.
Well, it's the truth.
Don't do that.
It's been a very clean race so far.
You better knock on some wood.
Paul Martin tuned in to last week's race at Darlington for the Simrat Market Series. And at some point in that race, it went about flag to flag. At some point in that race, I made a comment basically wanting cautions. I said, I'm the bringer of chaos. And I wouldn't mind a caution or 2 to spice things up in this stage, but I also wouldn't mind to see it go green as we run 3 wide here with Pooler, with Wood, and with Clark. Now 3 wide with Sutherland on the inside. Sutherland still many laps down. 22 to be exact.
He would need someone to be a bringer of chaos for him to get those laps back and potentially put himself back on the lead lap. Look at Carl Pooler. He just went from top to bottom to make it 3 wide on the inside line, and he's going to take the spot away from Stallings and Maddox, but Stallings is going to chase back on the outside line, keep holding side by side, but the fight for 4th still heating up at the moment. Now Maddox coming on back. It was a good run there from Carl Pooler, but it looks like that top line is still being the one to benefit from everything as Hausman takes the lead away from Patrick Hernandez, but he's got to run. He might look to go low here if he gets clear of Borbell.
He won't be able to. He will stay in behind the 78 car. The 2 hanging tough down low. Borbell doing a fantastic job this evening, just playing spoiler up front. He's led a bunch of laps, 13 to be exact. He's been in this battle just about all race long. It's been a lot of fun to watch him. and he is knocking on the door of victory lane. We talked about Catania maybe winning this race. He is no longer in the top 10. Could it be Borbell, who's been here about the entire race so far, as low as 8th, only 8th. He's been in the top 5 for about 90 of these 93 laps. Cooler has fallen back a little bit, racing with Brendan Maddox here. This is for 5th.
Side by side. Off of turn number 4. Cooler down to the apron. Only one really to go down there at the moment. He's going to stay side by side with that 8 car going into turn number 1. Johnny Wood Jr. is looking at potentially taking it away. Look at Sutherland. He's trying to get some laps back naturally. He is up there racing with the best of them. He's got the speed to do it. Down to the bottom, underneath Hernandez, trying to get side by side with Hausman. Pulls up in front of 91. They all got the wall.
Crushes the wall along with Hausman there. Hausman got it really hard as well. But Sutherland needs to be very, very careful in what he does next. He's racing with the leaders of the race. If he interferes too much, this could be a bit of a problem.
That it could. Whether or not he has enough speed to even pull away from them to stay on the lap he's on at the moment, which, you know, keep in mind, is about, well, looking over, he is actually about 22 laps down, so that would put him 21 down once he passes the leader of the race.
I get what he's doing, but I feel like he's just interfering a little bit too much. He's racing really hard with these guys. Dives there to make it 21 laps down. And he's going to slow up here on the straightaway and come back to Borbell, who's going to get a draft off of it. And then Borbell has to lift a little bit early, and that's going to bring Hausman back to Borbell. So Borbell's losing his lead a little bit. I mean, this is just... I don't know. I get it, but I feel like it's a little bit unnecessary. That's just me, though. That is just me. Here comes the field down the backstretch, and watch the gaps between these cars. There aren't many, but there is a gap from about the 13th position. And then there's a big gap behind Jason Bottoms. Bottoms runs in 24th. One car gets the wall there off the corner. That was Adam Buzzio.
It's almost kind of like we're pack racing, honestly. There's a separation. Jared Hughes and then, or excuse me, not Jared Hughes. That's Coulter Clark, who's leading the second pack. There's Jason Bottoms. So there's a lot of separation at the moment.
Lap 99 of 165. That'll be complete. On to lap 100 here. Hausman back to the inside, or outside rather, of Borbell. Borbell, dirty air because of the 24 car. Up the racetrack he goes, and that's why this 24 interfering with the leaders is a problem. If he gets a caution now... Oh, wow, Stallings was sideways into turn 3. But if we get a caution, sure, he gets 1 lap back, but that's 1 out of 21. And here comes Hausman to put him that lap back down. I don't feel like this is necessary.
Like... To be perfectly honest, the way I'm seeing it is he's fighting to get to the front, but if the leader catches up to him, he's not exactly going to fight to keep it. I mean, realistically speaking, he's fighting to keep it right now because he's side by side with Hausman for, if he was on the lead lap, what would be the race lead. But now, Hausman down to the inside to put that 24 car back to 22 laps down. The 24 charges, Sutherland charges again to get back to 21 down. So if the caution were to come out, Hausman would be fine. Everything would be all hunky-dory. But as he goes for the green flag run, it's holding him up. As Sutherland now gets cleared, is he going to try to fight? Yes, he is. Down to the inside of the 78.
If it was 1 lap down or even 2 laps down, trying to get back on the lead lap, that'd be one thing. He's 22 laps down, 21
and
now.
And he's pushing up.
I just question it. That's all. I mean, clearly he's very sure of what he wants to do here, and it's his prerogative to do so. So I want to clarify that, right? There's no rule saying he can't do this, but it is going to draw the ire of his competitors, and that's what I'm worried about. As he just about pushed up into the 78 that time, and now he's going to get down out of the way. Here comes Borbell on the inside.
Side by side for the race lead now.
And Sutherland will give up. He will let all these guys go by. So that did interfere with the race lead, and that's why I wonder why he did that. But he was trying to get a chance on a caution. The problem is he needs 20 more. And I don't know if it was completely worth it. That's going to be Mason Houseman not being very happy with Isaiah Sutherland when they already were not very happy with one another this week after what happened at Nashville a week ago.
Houseman grabs the wall right there. Well, Andrew, I think as the race rolls on, we have to consider if we're going to keep on staying green like this, in about the next 20 laps or so, we're going to see pit stops go underway.
Yeah, about 25 more laps until pit stops, and we'll see them around lap 125, 130, I think. I'll give these guys about 35 to go. But right now, all eyes are up on the top two, the 2 and the 78 cars. Borbell and Houseman. Borbell pulling away a little bit. Houseman able to draw right back up.
So close together right now. And I think the one thing that we need to note here is the patience from Mason Houseman. He could have made a move to the inside going down the back straightaway into turn number 3, but he didn't. Heck, he even backed off going into 3. Now he's got a big run here, and he could take advantage of it. He could look around, but he's going to let off a little bit. He's going to stay relatively close to the 2 car. So I don't know what that's going to play into. Tire saving this late into the stage now, you know, as we're getting ready to roll up on pit stops, I would want to create separation. You know, I would try to pull away from whoever's behind me, create some sort of space between, whether it comes down to just having that space for when you eventually let off to go into the pit lane, or, you know, just having it overall so that way if you take longer in the pit lane, you have a bit of a gap. You know, you're creating that advantage overall as the pit stops continue.
Gotta say, this has been a really solid race. We've got a lot of compelling details as this race works on. A lot of compelling moments that are sure to come as this race progresses, including this right here. Here comes Houseman back to the inside of Borbell, lap 108. Houseman going to have the race lead, and that's going to bring Stallings as well. Stallings and Hernandez back into this race for the top spot. Stallings dives on the 91 of Hernandez and will take that 3rd position away. They had been fighting for the last 5 laps or so. And Borbell, that time, opts to stay right behind Houseman into the corner.
See, now this is a problem that I'm starting to think about. This is what's going through my head. Probably just the driver in me, but now you've got about 8 cars under a bit of a blanket right here, all separated by about a second overall. Maybe you could rule out Catania. He's a few tenths further back and call it 7 cars up to Carl Pooler. But they're all super close together, and they don't seem like they're really getting away from each other. So when does it fall into play that the pit stops are going to happen, and these guys may or may not end up running into the back of each other with how close they're racing? You know, it could prove to have a bit of a problem here. So if I was Mason Houseman, I would go push mode, try to pull away from these guys.
Well, as this race moves on, I want to give a big thank you to our partners with the series, the Buttkicker, Ascendance Trucks, Ideal Lease, and Sundance Pizza, all helping us get to and from the virtual racetrack each and every week with the BRB Racing League and the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Stallings, teammate with the 78 car, moves to the inside of Stephen Borbell. That is for 2nd position. He had it for a moment, falls back now. And you see the nose to tail with Hernandez and Maddox. Maddox pushing the 91. And Hernandez just about clobbered the 0 into turn 1 that time. Was very close. And he gets
It's
the
getting
wall.
dicey. It's getting real dicey. Contact there between the 91 and the 0. Brendan Maddox coming into play. Adam Buzzio right behind him. I don't know, Andrew. I think as we roll closer and closer to these pit stops, this fighting is going to turn into a little bit of a hair-raising scenario. Not exactly giving these drivers the advantage that they want to. You know, I mean, Buzzio's on the bottom. Say Hernandez wanted to pit. He'd have to wait because he's racing somebody. And I'm going to keep bringing this up until we start seeing pit stops going underway, because this really is mind-boggling with how close they are together. The pit stops are going to be that much more intense.
Pit stops about 10 to 15 laps away. I'd say about 15, really, 15 to 20 right now. It depends on when they actually want to come in, if they want to split this stage down the middle, or if they want to run late on the first run of tires and fuel. Take 2 and get back on the racetrack. I mean, there's a couple of ways they can do it as Stallings grabs the fence that time. Carl Pooler, again, I want to circle back to this guy. He has put together a really nice race so far. It was an absolutely abysmal showing at Nashville a week ago. A lot of bad luck. Had a couple of moments there with Scott Fritz and Matthew Catania. I think it was Matthew Selby, actually. It was one of the 2 Matthews from that camp. And I think it was Selby, but regardless, some bad luck, some big moments, and Pooler dropped big time in the standings. Not positions, but points. He comes into tonight, if we look at the standings graphic, I'm doing so on my other monitor so you can see the racing on your screen, comes into tonight 29 points out. Needs to close up that gap, and what is that out of the chase to fight for a championship? You've got to qualify for the chase to fight for the championship here in the BRB Racing League. So that is a big, big deficit. 29 points when it was down in the teens. He's got to get every bit of this run that he's having so far. As he runs, P number 7. A really solid night considering he started 23rd.
Absolutely. Gotta be one of the hard chargers of the night with Buzzio right in front of him. And I'm sure there's quite a few people actually out there in the YouTube chat that agree with you. As Hernandez, big crack into the wall. Buzzio looking to the bottom. That's going to pull Pooler up for a bump draft right here. This might be a 2-for-1 special. And I say that in the opposite direction for Hernandez, because he might go backwards behind Pooler, as Catania and Gray Walker have now come into the mix. We got a couple of cars going down onto the apron to try and hang on. That was Brandon Maddox trying to see if he can hold on to the spots as these cars start reeling him in. Carl Pooler trying to use that top line advantage now as Buzzio's pulling alongside him. Going backwards, that is. Carl Pooler up to the 6th spot. Might take a look here. No, he's going to stay behind the 91 of Hernandez. Buzzio back to the bottom with Gray Walker in tow. We'll see how it all goes here. Like I said, Andrew, rolling up on pit stops. Not too much longer to go. That's going to be, this is going to be the money stop for these guys. And I mean, everybody's still got tires left too for if there's a green line checkered. So the money, this realistically is the money stop.
The money stop for now. Who knows what can happen later on. As we've got a race for 2nd place. Stallings going to dive up ahead of the 2 car of Borbell. And Stallings will win that fight. That moves Maverick Motorsports to 1 and 2. Borbell, though, is not done. Look at the 2 car close right back up.
Big run off of turn 4. To the inside of Stallings. Or excuse me, that was turn 2 back there. Mixing up my corners.
And Borbell is coming in.
Pitting. Here we go. Pit stops, ladies and gentlemen. You never want to be the first car to pit, but you have to at some point. And honestly, I like the undercut. I like the idea. And it looks like Buzzio liked it too, because he's coming in right along with him.
Those are our teammates.
Hernandez just called out that he'll be pitting this time by, so we're looking to see a few more cars coming in.
Jason Bottom's going to pit. Who else comes in this time? Mason Houseman runs around turn 3 and 4. He will stay out. You said Hernandez had called out that he was coming in. Here comes car 91. Is he going to make the box or
coming in
make the
hot.
pit lane? Just barely.
Keeping an eye on race control for black flags for any of these drivers as they roll through the pit lanes. Everyone seems to be getting in pretty easily at the moment. Just heard Carl Pooler now. He's going to be pitting in this time by. He's letting the field know that he's going to be coming in. So, looks like he'll be joining in with the fun. Gray Walker and Catania fighting side by side. They'll roll right on by him. As Carl Pooler brings it down to the safety of the pit lane here at Chicagoland Speedway. Gets it down. Mason Houseman, our leader. He's coming in this time by.
He's going to split the stage perfectly down the middle. Just about anyways. 40 laps complete since the pit stop. And it will be 42 to the end. So he's splitting it right down the middle, and here comes everybody else.
Dustin Stallings, Brendan Maddox.
Everybody from Maverick Motorsports coming in, yeah. Zachary even comes in as well, so that's all 4 of them down in 1 lap. Houseman, Stallings, Maddox, and Maddox. That's going to bring Catania and Younger, so even the CFM Esports drivers coming in at the same time.
See, now we get to see what Houseman does here, what these Maverick Motorsport guys are thinking.
What do they do, 2
when
or
it comes
4?
to their strategy. I see the right sides going up on those race cars.
I think with how many laps we have left, it's going to be... Yeah,
I
it's
knew
going to
it,
be 2
4
or
tires.
4, rather.
Called it out earlier in the race, Andrew. I think 4 tires was going to be the move overall. And it looks like the Maverick Motorsport guys agree.
I think I had in my brain it was going to be 65 laps when I said that earlier. It's 85 laps here in the third stage. That's a much longer distance, and that makes all the difference.
There goes
Borbell. There goes Coulter Clark. Clark, let's see, has he pitted yet?
No, he has not.
Well, there you go. So that's a lapped car going by, but Borbell did go by the 78 car. Here comes Sam Dyer to the pit lane. And Buzzio is racing with Stallings.
So it looks like that undercut worked out in their favor to get them a little bit closer up, but that means they have to save more tire overall compared to the rest of the field. So Buzzio picks up a couple of spots here. There you see Borbell. There you see Houseman. They've got a good separation going on there. They're both a lap down at the moment. The only difference, if a caution comes out right now, Borbell's the first car 1 lap down. There's Johnny Wood Jr. in the pit lane. You see Sam Dyer taking 4 tires. He's out in the way.
Gray Walker yet to pit.
Hernandez goes purple.
And these guys are coming up on the end of their pit window. They've got about 5 more laps that they can run, if that. They are waiting on a caution. Walker, Skinner, Camper, Patinko, Jensen, Clark, Dorsey, King, and Bly all waiting on a caution here, your top 9.
Not much longer you can wait, really. A couple cars calling out that they'll be pitting this time by.
Special paint scheme this week. Chicago themed with the Okaya, number 84 of Dakota Bly. He has dropped down the order today. It's been a rough day at the office for Dakota today. But it's going to give it a shot here nonetheless, and should be coming in soon.
Hearing that Evan Batinko is going to be coming in this time by. Jensen coming in as well. There you see Borbell going on by. All those cars getting back up into the top 10. Borbell is now 10th. That's going to put Houseman up 10th once it all cycles through. Going to be about 9th realistically for Houseman once they pass Jensen as well. Gray Walker still on the racetrack, though. Still leading laps. Braxton Skinner, Dakota Camper. There you see Borbell, though. He's looking to get back on the lead lap the hard way, and that's going to put Gray Walker further down the running order once he finally decides to take it to the pit lane. He is still staying on this racetrack, Andrew. I'm not sure how much longer he can go for.
Not much longer. We were told 47 of 49. I always go 1 lap outside of that in case of a short pit or fuel saving. So we say 46 to 50. He's on lap 48 right now. So they've got to come in very, very soon. They might be able to make it to 51 with the caution laps they had at the beginning of the stage. But that would be about it as Borbell tries to shoot the gap underneath Gray Walker. You've got to be careful of that, and that puts Walker straight in the wall.
Oh, boy.
Walker cannot be happy. I wouldn't be.
I wouldn't. Got a lap car race when you get back on the lead lap. I mean, it's to be expected, especially.
But you're the passing car. You've got to do it safely.
Braxton Skinner says he's going to be coming in this time, and ooh, more contact with Hausman.
Buzzio going to go by. Walker might be coming in here.
He's trying to get to the bottom.
Stallings right there. Here comes Hernandez and Maddox. Walker's still the race leader.
Earlier. This is exactly the scenario I was worried about earlier, except it's a different scenario, or a different version of the scenario, we'll say. And Gray Walker heading to pit lane this time by.
Yeah, he's got to. He is right on the edge of what he can do on fuel, along with Dakota Camper. Camper's going to keep on going, though. No, he's not. Camper comes in.
I was going to say, I don't know how you can keep on going.
See the frustration, the shaking there out of the 25 of Walker coming into the pit lane.
He might be out.
No, he's under power. I think that's just frustration. I think he's a little bit annoyed.
Ooh. Almost gets turned off Dakota Blythe's nose right there.
The race leader is Steven Borbell. He has got about 8/10 back. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. He's got about 6/10, 5 to 6/10 back to the 78 car of Mason Hausman. We've got about 30 laps to go.
Well, place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Place them now and place them good. Borbell, Hausman, Hernandez, Stallings, Buzzio, Maddox, Pooler, Johnny Wood Jr., Matthew Catania, and Jamie Plord gets into the top 10 after everything cycles through. So now comes the battle of attrition here, Andrew. Now we get to see how these guys are really going to manage these tires. And the tire strat already looks like it's playing in Hausman's favor. He's closed up to 2/10 on that 2 car. He's got clean air in front of him, so now he wants to go get it.
Hausman is definitely the driver to beat tonight. Of course, these guys are all on fixed setups, so it doesn't come so much down to the car as it does the driver. And I think 100% the 78 is the driver to beat.
Flat traffic up in front, Dakota Blythe, who is currently sitting on the lead lap, if I'm not mistaken. As the race for the lead continues to heat up, Blythe is actually last car on the lead lap, so he'll end up being the first car 1 lap down when they roll on through. Bumper to bumper as they cross the start-finish line. 30 laps to go, now make it 29. Little tap to the wall from Borbell, look to the outside from Hausman. Does he switch it back? Stays in line. Being patient, I like it. Gray Walker goes fastest.
Plenty of laps to go, plenty of laps to do it if you're Mason Hausman. You don't need to lead them all, just lead that final one. Behind them, you got Patrick Hernandez in 3rd, Adam Buzzio in 4th, Dustin Stallings 5th, and Brendan Maddox in 6th. No strategy play option like we had last season, though, for Adam Buzzio. So it's going to come down to raw pace, it looks like, if this race continues on at the rate that it has been. As Gray Walker goes faster.
He's got some speed under that hood right now. He's making it known.
Problem is, Gray Walker runs down in 17th position after staying out all those extra laps. He pitted about 13 laps later than Steven Borbell, who pitted at the start of the cycle.
Well, I'm sure he'll be able to make up some ground here on those fresh tires. He's got a lot fresher tires than the rest of the field. But up front, still fighting Adam Buzzio. Dustin Stallings, Gray Walker goes purple once again. Well more quicker. He's also drafting with a few cars right now, so that would play into things a little bit. Brendan Maddox to the back bumper of Adam Buzzio. A top 5 run for that number 5 car is definitely what he wanted to see after Nashville when he was having some technical difficulties trying to keep that car on the racetrack. He's having pedal problems, the way he called it out. Just throttle wasn't being very responsive, something like that, or just may have been his brake pedal that wasn't being very responsive. But either way, he had to pull off a couple of times to get it fixed while he was under the caution flag, but he still kept that car relatively in the mix to keep some points up. But seeing him up here running the 6th spot, having a good day, that is well and good for that 5 car of Adam Buzzio. Dustin Stallings fighting with Patrick Hernandez now for that 3rd spot, trying to get back up towards the race lead. Our race winner from a week ago, still proving that he got what it takes.
Here comes Mason Houseman on the inside of Stephen Borbell. He's going to look for the race lead this time. Lap 141, 25 to go. And Houseman has decided that's it. It's go time. I'm going to move up and go on by you, Stephen. And that is good for the race lead. Yeah, slingshot engaged. I like it. Let's drop back a little bit in the field and kind of give a recap of who is where. We'll drop back to 25th position. Robert Moyer Jr., 1 lap down. And we'll just cycle through the field here. 1 lap down, runs in the 25th spot, started 18th. A promising qualifying effort has gone awry for the Freaky Fast Broadcasting number 16 car. Moving up ahead just a little bit, you have Dakota Bly, who is just hanging on to the lead lap. He's next to go a lap down if the leaders get there, kind of when the leaders get there. The Okaya 84 a little bit off the pace this evening. Moving up, one of his teammates, Jason Bottoms, runs in 23rd place after starting 25th. A very good-looking metallic blue, number 87. Unfortunately, not the greatest run this evening. Side-by-side battle here, Zachary King, Cody Dorsey. We focus here on King in the 51 car, the K1 Speed 51 for the K1 Speed 250. A nice metallic paint scheme on that Ford Mustang Dark Horse as he runs right behind Cody Dorsey, who runs 21st. 20th place, Coulter Clark runs somewhere around where he started. He started 22nd, so 2 spots up from where he started. He's had promising speed this evening, but is fighting back from a pit penalty. I say a pit penalty. It was a drive-through penalty where he had to come down the pit lane. Cole Lewis is 1 spot up in 19th. He started 24th, so he's up 5 spots. Cole Younger up from 30th position. The CFM driver up from 30th to 18th spot, has been as high as 14th. It's a quiet day for him. That's what he needs after a tumultuous day in Nashville. Sam Dyer runs in 17th position, donning a new paint scheme, a throwback to Tony Stewart. He runs in 17th after starting 12th. Evan Patinko started 8th, runs 16th. A new paint scheme there for the 81. Has been strong this evening, but is a little bit down the order right now, outside of the top 15 by just a hair to Eric Jensen there in the 99 car. Jensen started 26th, runs 15th. And then you have a battle with Zachary Maddox and Gray Walker. Walker just moving up into 13th spot. Zachary Maddox now matching his car number in that 14 car. He's the one Maverick Motorsports driver not in the top 5 this evening. A little bit of work to do there for the 14 car. Gray Walker, we've talked about him. He's moving back through the field for Accelerate Racing. Braxton Skidder trying to do the same thing. Started 6th, though, and is down to 12th position here on this long run. Dakota Camper runs in 11th spot. Started 9th. A quiet day for him, but he has led a lap this evening. Carl Pooler runs in 10th. He has had a strong 3rd stage and is looking to complete it with a top 10. Jamie Plord runs in 9th. A very quiet day for the Racers for Christ Chevrolet Camaro. Not much to report there. Matthew Catania runs in 18th spot. Has been up front, has 5 laps led. Thought maybe he could win this race earlier in the day, Zach, and unfortunately, it has changed for him. He's still running good, just a little bit down the order behind Johnny Wood Jr., who runs in 7th after starting one of his lowest starting spots all season, down in 17th spot. Patrick Hernandez falls back into the... actually moves up into 5th position, just ahead of Adam Buzzio. That just happened. Buzzio runs in 6th. There he is after starting 5th. Hernandez started 20th, is one of the big movers of the race. Brendan Maddox just ahead, runs in 4th after starting 4th, and then you get to your top 3, Zach.
Yeah, Dustin Stallings still having a great run overall. He's been able to keep that car relatively clean up in the front of the field. And actually, Hernandez was in front of Brendan Maddox. Maddox moved back in front of that 91 car, so he's still keeping tough up there at the front of the field. But the race for the lead still super close together between Mason Hausman and Stephen Borbell. They're 2 tenths separated. We got one car ducking down in the pit lane. Believe that was Jason Bottoms heading down into the security of the pit lane, so he'll pull out of the way of the leaders. But we're still rolling strong. We're still rolling solid up here with these guys sticking so close together. Only separated by just over 2 tenths, like we said just a second ago. There's not a lot of time left, Andrew. We'll be 15 to go at the start-finish line this time by. Looks like Borbell is realizing that he might be able to use the top line to his advantage. He's trying everything he can to get back up to that 78 car, but you can't lose that patience right now. You cannot afford to let it slip away. 15 laps doesn't seem like a lot, but it can be when all things are considered when it comes to the tires, because Hausman's probably just saving as much tires as he can and holding on to it. Borbell, obviously, he's up there in the playoffs, or in the chase, excuse me. He doesn't have too much to worry about. You know, Dakota Camper, he's having a bit of a rough day after pit stops all cycle through. Wolsifer, he's out right now. Caution! Caution on the speedway!
And this will change everything. We just saw a stopped car. And it's going to be Zachary King. Oh no.
No. We were just about to talk about the chase right now, and with Richard Wolsifer out of the race, that points an open door for that 51 car, Zachary King. But getting his night derailed like that, not exactly what he wanted to see.
Racing with Cody Dorsey in the back of the field here. Comes down the racetrack. Dorsey was there. And race control has got a fun one to try and dictate there. A race-changing caution. And it comes down to that.
No.
That car was broken.
Oh, boy. Well, race control has said that the race is under review, but pit stops are currently underway. Taking a look on Zachary King's on board. He's in the corner. He's well and clear. He's going back to the bottom, and the 88 just shoves it right in there. He's got that wheel fully cranked. If he's got that wheel fully cranked to the left, you might as well think he was in the gas there for a second.
Well, here we go. Pit stops underway, as you mentioned. Johnny Wood Jr., one of the first to leave his box, but Hausman will make it off the pit lane first. And it's just about perfect order of how they started this race. Hausman leaves over Borbell, Stallings, Maddox, and Buzzio. I'm curious. So Hausman started first, runs first. Borbell started second, runs second. Stallings started third, runs third. Maddox started fourth, runs fourth. Buzzio started fifth, runs fifth. That is a perfect example of why qualifying is important. Starting spots to the top 5 all mirroring where they're running. I have not seen that in a while. It probably won't stay that way, but the top 5 all run where they started this race. That is impressive.
I hate to break it to you, Andrew, but this is going to turn into a slugfest.
Yeah.
I mean, we are going to have about 10 laps to go when we take the green flag. Maybe 11 here. I think we'll get the 1 to green here as they're going to be choosing this time. Looking at the lights on the pace car as the top 3 cross the line. Yep, lights are out of the top of the pace car, so we are going green. Next time by, a lot of cars choosing the outside line. They think that's where the place to be is. You see a lot of cars choosing the bottom. You see Sutherland pulling out of the way as he's laps down, so he can't really choose at the moment. And I don't know. Oh, man, this is going to be tough to call here. You got Hausman on the bottom, Borbell up top, Stallings on the bottom, Brendan Maddox up on the top. Then you've got Adam Buzzy on the bottom, Johnny Wood Jr., Braxton Skinner, Zachary Maddox. He's trying to get up there with the rest of his Maverick Motorsports teammates. Gray Walker, Patrick Hernandez up on the top. Oh, boy, this is going to be good, Andrew. I don't know about you, but I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm ready for this one.
We'll have 11 laps to go when we go back green. This is the prime time. If you have anything left in your car tonight, it's got to come out now. 11 laps. That's a sprint. It is going to be an all-out dash to the checkers. And we've seen these guys be able to upset the 78 on a short run, but we haven't seen him really push on a short run. What does Mason Houseman have? What does the rest of the field have? Waiting on the green flag into the Geico restart zone. Green flag in the air at Chicago. It's the K1 Speed 250 back under green.
Big shoves out of Stallings, Andrew. You saw it there on the restart. He tried to go up to the top. He cleared the top line. He knew that's where he needed to be. Now he's going to fall in line with Mason Houseman. Adam Buzzio's trying to get through the field, get himself up to third. Borbell's up on the top. There's contact behind, but the race still heating up as it goes. Look at Maddox going to the bottom.
Maddox to the inside of Stephen Borbell, trying to make it a Maverick. 1, 2, 3. Just about had him cleared. Borbell fights back on the outside lane and has him at the stripe for third place.
The fight side by side for third and for fifth. You can't be fighting for too long, Andrew. It's just going to let Mason Houseman drive away. He knows that there's no tire saving now. He's been letting all these guys just run around and do what they want to do, but now he has to get serious. Now he has to push. And he's holding about a tenth in front of Dustin Stallings, who's ripping up on the fence, ripping up on that top line. Borbell goes down to the bottom. It looks like Stallings is really just up there by himself. And look at Houseman driving away from that zero car.
We'll see if his teammate can hang with him. Now you see Stallings go down low and try to suck the draft on the inside lane. It doesn't work. That dirty air, it's good on the straightaway, not so good in the corners. He did close in that time into 3, but you see Houseman pull right back away when he gets back to the power. So it's Houseman, Stallings, Borbell, Maddox, your top 4. Gray Walker goes fastest. Where does he run? He runs down in the 6th position. So he's moving forward. He gets to the inside here of the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. as Zachary King comes back up onto the racetrack.
He stayed out, stay on the lead lap under that caution flag, and it didn't exactly work out in his favor because he had to go down to the pit lane and get that car relatively fixed. Someone just got mad at Zachary King. I think it was Evan Patinko. Not sure what's going on in the back, but things are still kind of tame at the moment.
Borbell back through to second. He's trying to chase down your race leader. 7 laps to go at Chicagoland Speedway. Make it 6 this time by. Six laps to go right there. Maverick Motorsports 1, 3, and 4. Zachary Maddox runs back in the 11th spot. Maverick Motorsports has just been so good tonight. So
dominating the race. They've been doing everything right. All of their drivers have been relatively good on speed. I think the only one that just has been the outlier there has been Zachary Maddox, and he's still sitting in the 11th spot. So the rest of the team sitting inside the top 5. Maverick Motorsports has half of the top 5 dominated. And I think Maddox might have just missed something when it came to this race. Maybe just didn't turn enough practice laps, who knows. But even though he's a little bit further down the running order than his teammates are, 11th place is nothing to be upset about out of a 30-car field. But Stephen Borbell still trying to chase down that 78. Dustin Stallings still well in tow. This race ain't over, Andrew.
4 laps to go right here. On board of Stephen Borbell, he got to the bottom side first, but you see the 78 use that late apex and drive up off the corner and extend that lead once again. He's just too good. I think he's got this thing unless a caution comes out, maybe. I just don't see being able to catch him. I don't see being able to catch him and pass him. I just don't see it happening as Gray Walker is to the inside of Brendan Maddox. Walker is moving forward consistently. This is for the 4th position now.
I don't know what he did, but he did something right.
He found something. Might not get 4th, but the top 5 would be solid for Gray Walker. Dives to the inside there of Brendan Maddox. Up off the corner, 2 laps to go at Chicagoland Speedway.
I don't see a caution coming out now. Stallings has closed the gap up to the two of Stephen Borbell. But the gap that's really close is the gap between the leader and second place. Under 0.2 of a second now. So I don't know, Andrew. He might catch him here. He may not. Down the back straightaway. Going into turns 3 and 4. He's not got a lot of time left to catch this 78 car. He's got to make it happen now. Coming to the white flag, presented by Whiplash and Cams. Regardless of what happens now, this race is official.
Mason Houseman leads the race. He's swept the stages. He's trying to break the win tie between himself and Isaiah Sutherland. He comes into tonight the points leader, trying to extend that gap to everybody else. He's done it through the stages. He's done it through every lap so far. A big send from Borbell won't be enough. It's going to be Mason Houseman up off of turn number 4. A third win on the season. Checkered flag, Mason Houseman of the K1 Speed 250.
Dominating performance from Mason Houseman and a great race between those two up at the front. Really made it worthwhile. Stephen Borbell is going to bring it home in the second spot, just about 0.2 back. Dustin Stallings, Gray Walker, and Brendan Maddox, your top 5.
Mason Houseman, defending champion. Battle scars there on the left side of the car from that battle with Patrick Hernandez earlier in the day. Third win now on the season. Looking like a lock not only for the chase, but looking like a lock maybe for the championship favorite. As the whole Maverick Motorsports bunch will park it on the front of the racetrack there at the start-finish line and get a picture. A strong effort from all of them. And you know what, Zach? At the line, it's going to be all 4 cars in the top 10. Zachary Maddox was able to grab 10th place away from Matthew Catania and finish inside of the top 10 this evening. That is a heck of an effort from that team as a whole. 4 cars in the top 10. That is very difficult to do.
I was kind of confused because Jason Bottoms was up there, or not Jason Bottoms, Carl Pooler was up there in the top 10. And, yeah, just really weird there. But, hey, great run for all 4 of these cars. They did an absolute stand-up job with just how much they put into this team. They put a lot of effort into this. I know there's a lot of people out there that are enjoying this Mason Houseman win, and the Maverick Motorsport cars are going to burn it down, because when one gets a win, they all get a win. They celebrate together, and I love seeing that out of this team.
Mason Houseman drives around and will take an extra victory lap here. Drift a little bit maybe through the grass, all in celebration of a 3rd race win this season. He's had a rough couple of weeks. I say rough, there's been a lot of drama. A lot of drama. Go back to Red Bull Ring between himself and Gavin Rogers. Even more drama last week at Nashville. He's had strong runs, race-winning runs, hasn't gotten the race win either of those races. This could be a 5th if those other races had just gone a little bit differently. But it's a 3rd win for him this evening. We've been talking about him a lot this season, and I think that's going to continue. As he comes around and is going to celebrate some more on the front stretch down through the grass. There he goes.
Keeping a highlight in here with the Maverick Motorsport cars. Zachary Maddox, like you said, was able to get that that 10th spot there on the last lap. Apparently, Carl Pooler made some contact with Braxton Skinner on the last lap and went through the grass on the back straightaway. And that kind of hindered his race a little bit. Definitely put him down the running order because he was 10th, fighting with a lot of those guys. Ended up 13th at the end of the night. And there you see Mason Houseman shaking off the dirt on that race car. He is one happy man to be winning this race.
We'll let him continue to celebrate and take a look at the unofficial race results when it's all said and done. Houseman with the race win, 91 laps led out of 165. Solid day for him at the office, ahead of Stephen Borbell and Dustin Stallings in your top 3. Ray Walker finishes 4th, Brendan Maddox 5th, Adam Buzzio, Johnny Wood Jr., Patrick Hernandez, Braxton Skinner, and Zachary Maddox, your full top 10.
Rolling outside the top 10, Matthew Catania, Dakota Camper, and Carl Pooler. They're all going to end the day just outside of the top 10. Eric Jensen in the 14th spot. Cole Younger ends up 15th. Evan Patinko, he was running up in the top 10 early on in this race. He gets 16th on the night. Sam Dyer, I want to send a shout out to Sam Dyer. He's been picking up his pace a little bit more recently, and he started further up the field. He started 12th, but he ends the day 17th. Still a relatively good run for that 35 car. Jamie Plord ends up in the 18th spot. Coulter Clark and Cole Lewis, 54 and the 52, are going to round out your top 20, 19th and 20th spot.
Finishing down in 21st, you'll find Robert Moyer Jr. just ahead of Dakota Bly. Cody Dorsey, nearly one lap down, ends up 23rd spot. Jason Bottom, Zachary King end up both one lap down at the end of this race. Isaiah Sutherland never did get back up higher than 22 laps down, ends up 26th, but did outlast guys like Zachary Brandvold, Scott Fritz, Richard Wolsifer, and Jared Hughes. And that shows why you've got to stay in the race and get those extra points. That'll be very important for Sutherland to grab those extra points and finish ahead of those 4 drivers. Let's go back and talk with our top three drivers from the evening. Of course, Mason Hausman with the race win. We'll talk to him first, and he's already ready to talk to us. Mason Hausman, for a second time this evening, chatting with you. A race win here at Chicago. That's got to feel oh so good after dominating this evening. You swept the stages, you end up coming home first place, and you break that win tie. I asked you earlier, how good would breaking that tie feel? How good does it feel?
You know, it feels pretty good. I will say it's good to be back on top. That's really where I wanted to be this entire season. I've had a couple of interesting races the last couple of times, but I'm really glad I could break that tie between me and Isaiah and come out with maximum points, you know, starting on pole, leading a lap, both stage wins, and coming out first. You know, that's maximum points to propel myself back up to the top of the points.
How difficult was it to keep a cool, calm mentality when racing with Patrick Hernandez earlier this race? We saw the contact between you and him, the door damage on the left side. What was going on there?
You know, I'm pretty sure that was stage 2. Am I correct there?
Yeah, I believe so.
I apologized to him. I bounced off the wall and I got down into him. Nothing egregious there. Me and him apologized to each other, and you know, no hard feelings there. But you know, it was tough to battle on Patrick tonight. You know, he was super good on the short runs. You know, a lot of speed that we haven't seen from him in a while. So I'm glad that he can show you guys that he has some speed. I know Steven had a lot of speed tonight. You know, I didn't really practice on that 2 tire stop, and Steven and Adam did. So I'm glad I could hold him off. You know, it's a really good finish for also us as Maverick. You know, finishing 1, 3, 5, and 10, pretty sure. So, you know, good team result for us too.
Really solid team day. How does it feel as a teammate to be able to help these guys out and see your whole team flourish?
You know, I can't take any of the credit tonight. You know, Dustin actually helped me for this race. You know, I know this race meant a lot to him. So I'm happy that he could at least get a top 3 out of the night. You know, we put in a lot of practice as a team. You know, I'm really proud of where our team's taking a stepping point right now. You know, we really want to propel ourselves to a winning team every week. I know me and Dustin have been in practice sessions after practice sessions. Brennan and Zach come in all the time too, just so we can learn off of each other. You know, it's a really good place for us as a team right now, and I think you're only going to see us getting better.
Well, congratulations once again. A 3rd win on the season, 91 laps led, and I know we'll be talking to you again soon.
Yes, and I want to say thank you to my team. You know, great team result tonight. Very proud of our boys, and we fight for next week. I want to thank you guys. You know, you guys put out great products, and every week you guys make us who we are and let us do this in front of people that want to watch us. I want to say good race to Steven. You know, me and him had a good race up front, and I'm proud that we can come out without wrecking each other. I want to say thank you to the admins. You know, this was a tough change, no fast repairs this week, so you know, it was really hard for them to tell everybody about that, but I want to say thank you to them. It really looked like it improved our racing, made us a lot cleaner. Only 2 cautions tonight, so that's our cautions for wrecks, so that's super impressive tonight. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody in the league. You know, we did a great job tonight. The racing was spectacular, and I'm glad that we can put out a good product this week for you guys.
It was a great race. Congratulations once again, Mason. We'll be talking to you again soon, and we'll move on down to position number 2. Stephen Borbell able to congratulate Mason Houseman there. There we go. Able to congratulate Mason Houseman after the checkered flag. You see that there on your screen. But Zach, it's the 2 car that comes home, position number 2.
Yeah, driver of the O2 gets to talk to driver of the number 2. Oh, man. Stephen Borbell, a great race, man. You were just able to hang on to it there at the end. I mean, you tried to pull a bit of a different tire strategy and hopefully put yourself out in front earlier on in the stage when there were green flag pit stops going on. So you ended up losing a little bit of ground, and when the caution came out, you ended up having to fight for it again with Mason Houseman. But do you think you had something for him, or you think second was all right?
Definitely had something for him. I kind of wish we had the rest of that green flag run play out. I think my tires kind of plateaued, and they got to that point, and Mason as well. But it would have just been able to give me a better shot at it. Going in to take those 2 tires for that last restart, I had no idea how the car was going to drive, but it drove really well. And I mean, I'm happy with second, but that win's got to be coming soon.
That it is. A great run tonight, and it would have been a win. I thought it was going to be a win. Andrew thought it was going to be a win. We were all sitting here thinking who was going to try to take Mason Houseman off of his throne, and you were probably the only one that was going to be able to do it. But second place is still an amazing run. I mean, do you think running on that outside line was going to be the best part of the night, or do you think the inside line was the one that was more dominant?
I think the inside line was faster on its own. However, as taking that outside line and being that outside car, you kind of got to dictate the car underneath you. You could pinch him up and prevent him from sliding up, or you got the run on the straightaway. So a majority of the time it seemed to work out being the outside car, unless the inside car absolutely just sent it. So I think that was really my plan all night, and I got to give Mason a lot of credit. I don't have the best relationship with him when it comes to racing sometimes, but he gave a lot of room out there and raced very clean tonight. That
he did. Honestly, it's funny you say racing clean, because you sent one heck of a move there into turn number 3 on the last lap. But hey, you got to do what you can to win the race, right?
It's the last corner, exactly.
Well, congratulations, Steven. You did a great job running tonight, and yeah, we got another race coming up next week, and hopefully we'll see that number 2 car back up at the front.
I appreciate it, Zach. Hope to see you guys there. Just want to give a quick shout out to my teammates, Adam and Jared. Like I said, Mason, big shout out to him for the win. Congratulations. Dustin, good run. And thank you guys for all y'all do and the hard work you put in each week. We appreciate having you guys, and thank you to everyone watching.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again, Steven. Looking forward to seeing you next week.
Same here, buddy.
Well, very happy Stephen Borbell finishing second on the night, Andrew. I mean, hey, I wouldn't blame him for being happy. That's a great run.
Definitely is. You're able to take down that top 1, 2, 3 that was going on with Maverick Motorsports, able to upstate that a little bit. But the other part of that attempted 1, 2, 3 up front is Dustin Stallings, who was able to go home P3 this evening. A race win for you last week. We talked to you after stage 2 this evening, and we talked to you again here. Clearly, this 0 is turning things around and finding some late season speed when you need to. How good do you feel moving into the back end of this regular season?
So far, we got some pretty good momentum pretty much throughout the whole team itself. But me personally, it feels very, very good to have this type of speed so far the past couple weeks, and just turning things around and being on the good end of things here. It means a lot, and super proud of everybody on our team.
Do you feel like you could have done anything differently there in that battle with Steven to try and get P2 and at least make it a 1-2 from Maverick Motorsports?
I was near about giving it all I had, honestly. I never really practiced ahead of tonight's race with 2 tires on how it handled, and so I wasn't 100% confident on how the car was going to do. Like I kind of took it easy a little bit the first lap or so on that last restart, but once I seen Mason kind of leaving, I kind of had to pick it up a little bit. But I thought I was going to have a shot there. When Steven got around me, I was hoping to kind of pull back to them, but I just tagged the wall a couple of times and just lost my momentum. But I was looking at her lap average after that last restart between me, Mason, and Steven. We're pretty much, I mean, all within a couple hundredths of a second. So we were neck and neck there. So it was super fun.
A couple of wild racetracks coming up in Pocono and Darlington. How do you feel about those?
Pocono, it's been a while since I turned some laps there. I think the last couple of times I ran there, it was pretty good to me. Darlington is one of my favorite tracks on the sim, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. But yeah, it's got a bunch of tracks coming up that I typically do pretty well at. It's just doing the work and getting prepped for them and just having a good team plan and executing. So far the last 2 weeks, that's what we've been doing, and it's really changing things, kind of changing the dynamic of our team.
There you go. That's Dustin Stallings after a race win last week, P3 here this week. Congratulations, Dustin. Hopefully we'll talk again soon.
I appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to you guys for the broadcast. Y'all do an amazing job. One of the best in the business for sure. And really fun going back and watching these races. And everybody, all the admins for this league, all the sponsors, without them, this league wouldn't even be able to do what we do. And also tonight, overall race, super fun, other than my connection issues early on, but very proud of everybody, honestly. It really liked how tonight played out. Proud of everybody.
A very good night at the office for sure. Dustin Stallings comes home P3, and Zach, he started P3. He finished P3. The top two did the same thing. Gray Walker is the one driver that spoils that 1, 2, 3, 5 of drivers that started 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of drivers that started 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. I have not seen that numerology work out before in iRacing. Except maybe in an official race somewhere. In a league race, you don't usually see that. Things get mixed up, drivers finish in different spots. To have first, second, third, fourth, and fifth nearly finish in the same spots they started in shows you just how good each of those drivers are up ahead of the rest of the field. They had this place figured out this evening. Gray Walker is able to spoil that and come home in fourth place. I wish we could have talked to him, but a really solid day for Gray Walker, I gotta say. And really cool just number thing there at the end, Zach.
Yeah, we do love numbers around here, don't we?
Well, I do. I'm not so sure you do. You always say you're bad at math. I
am bad at math, and somehow I whip out numbers for statistics and data and whatnot the entirety of the broadcast. So I don't know. Maybe when you're in racing, you got to have some form of basic knowledge of math. But hey, that was race number. There's a number for you. Race number 9 coming up next week. Pocono, and then Darlington, Daytona. I'm excited for the Darlington race. I'll tell you that.
Darlington was a lot of fun with this car last week in the Simrat Market Series, and I always encourage you guys, if you're watching here this evening from the BRB Racing League, to cross-pollinate. Watch the Simrat Market Series tomorrow night when we go to Pocono, because it will be a precursor of what goes on next week here for the BRB Racing League. It's a little bit of a taste of what you can expect when we go there next week. So you could have seen that again last week. We went to Darlington in the Simrat Market Series last week for Darlington. So again, that cross-pollination, watch these other races here on the channel and see what might be coming up for your favorite league here, the BRB Racing League. Get that little bit of cross-pollination, see what else is going on, and check things out. But yes, Pocono next week going to be a lot of fun. Darlington will be as well. Daytona, IRP, and Michigan there through February. A lot of really good races coming up for the BRB Racing League. Let's take a look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV. Next up, as mentioned, tomorrow night's race at the Pocono Raceway for the Simrat Market Series. And then we go to another mystery race, the 4th on the season for the Sarah Super Series on Thursday, before next Tuesday's race at Pocono for the BRB Racing League here with the Buttkicker Cup Series. It's just a lot of Pocono here. A lot of Pocono.
So much Pocono. didn't even realize how much Pocono there was, to be perfectly honest.
A lot of Darlington and a lot of Pocono this month. 2 races at Darlington, 2 races at Pocono, very close together. I don't know how the schedules worked out for that, but we'll take it.
And we got a short track in the middle. Hallelujah.
And where do you want to guess we're going on Thursday?
Oh, can I guess Hickory again?
No, that one's off.
Oh man, I guess Hickory. You guess it twice, and suddenly all of a sudden you're enemy of the state. Well, we went to Hickory. What was the first mystery night? That was Stafford.
We've been to Stafford, Rockingham, and Hickory for the mystery races.
Oh boy. Las Vegas Bull Ring?
Hey, it's a guess. We'll take it.
Well, you'll be able to catch the mystery night coming up this Thursday night here on Pit Stop TV, and plenty of places to stay updated on your favorite racing series here at Pit Stop TV. PitStopTV.com, Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, and then YouTube.com/PitStopTV1 and X.com/PitStopTV_. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there will be a different lead commentator come Wednesday night.
That's right. Tomorrow night, you're making your debut as a lead commentator here at Pit Stop TV. A special program tomorrow night. It'll be the first broadcast I don't do on the channel in a couple of years. So watch out for that one. We'll see how that goes tomorrow night. Best of luck to Zach, Scott, and the full broadcast team.
A fun fact, actually, Andrew. I have been with Pit Stop TV for quite a few years now, actually, and I was a few days ago, I was looking back through the broadcasts, and the first time that Andrew reached out to me to do anything related to Pit Stop TV was to come out for a modified race in a league that they were helping cover, and I think I came out, I finished second in that race, and that was almost 4 years ago.
No
Crazy
way.
how time
Really?
flies. 2021.
Unbelievable stuff. Well, that'll do it for us with that fun factoid out of the way. That'll do it for us this evening from Chicagoland Speedway. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure as always. It has been a very, very fun night at Chicagoland Speedway. Thanks for tuning in. A big thank you to the partners with the series, the Buttkicker, Ascendance Trucks, Ideal Lease, and Sundance Pizza, as well as our partners here at the channel, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, and now Lucky Performance. Thanks for tuning in once again. We'll see you all next time out, hopefully tomorrow night for the SimRap Market Series. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for the Pocono Raceway here with the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. We'll see you then.